What's up, fellas? Time for Wake Up Mintzy. 4 p.m. start. We got the Wake Up Show, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. What could be more fitting and appropriate? We got the Dude Wipes as always. We got Stella Blue, but we're fired up today because the NCAA baseball tourney starts tomorrow. One of my favorite weekends of the year. You think March Madness is a lot of fun when you got 16 games each of the first 2 days? Well, how about 32 freaking NCAA tournament baseball games tomorrow? 16 4-team regionals all across the United States begin tomorrow, and bringing in one of my favorites from my past, the man, the myth, the legend, Wade Townsend, former 2003 national champion for the Rice Owls, the greatest pitching staff of all time. He says the greatest team of all time still, and former top number 8 overall pick, because I messed it up before, 8, not 10, of the 04 draft. What's up, Wade? How we doing?
Nothing much, Mintz. How's it going? I'm super excited for tomorrow. It's the best time of the year.
It really is, and I feel like as college baseball has grown, people are knowing it more and more. And, I do love the NCAA tournament basketball, but, man, the regional weekend of college baseball with 32 games tomorrow, 32 games Saturday, 16 4-team double elimination tourneys around the country, it's just such a fun weekend. And, back in your day, it was 8-team regionals, right? The super regional format hadn't even started.
I'm not quite that old, no. I'm only a super regional guy. I think that was, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years before I actually got there.
Well, I love the format, the double elimination. The key is really to win your first 2 games because it's so hard to come out of the loser's bracket. But it can be done. Baseball is a confidence, momentum sport. And we've got a lot to get into. We're going to run through, as always, we're DraftKings partners. I got the odds up of all the regionals. We're going to hit them all with Wade. We're going to make some picks in this tournament. We're going to get after it. We're here to make the people some freaking money. And if you haven't, deposit on DraftKings tomorrow. Run lines, money lines, over-unders, regional odds, futures odds for the national title. They got it all at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's amazing to see how far the college baseball gambling has come. All right, we'll start with your neck of the woods because you live in Austin, Texas. We get the Austin Regional. The number 1 seed Texas Longhorns, 22-8 in the SEC, won the SEC title their first year in the league with Coach Schlossnagle. Number 2 seed, really strong, kind of sneaky UTSA team out of Conference USA. Number 3, you got Kansas State, who snuck in on the bubble from the Big 12, but did make a super regional last year. And number 4, you got Houston Christian. Texas, minus 225, UTSA plus 280. K-State 7-1, Houston Christian 45-1. Does UTSA have a legitimate shot in this regional?
Well, first off, Mintz, I want to talk about trying to bet in college baseball 5 years ago. You couldn't even do it. Apparently, DraftKings everything now, man. Maybe I need to drive to Louisiana or fly up to Chicago just to partake in this tomorrow.
Oh, it's unbelievable. They've got it's so crazy how far it's come. Literally, they used to only put lines out for Omaha, and now you've got everything. And I'm looking to make some regional bets today. I like doing that because it buys you interest for 3-4 days. I'm looking to find some underdogs that got a shot. All right, let's hitting this Austin Regional. I see you've got a sign up, UTSA versus Northeastern CWS final. I see it right behind you.
There you go, guys. That's the one. UTSA gets out of the Austin Regional. For sure, it's happening.
Really? Well, Texas, great season. Did lose their ace, Jared Spencer. Blew out his shoulder, which is a big loss. They do get Max Bellew. Came back, hit a game-winning homer against Oklahoma a couple weeks ago. He's their best hitter. He was out for most of the year. So that's a big boost. But what do you know about these Roadrunners?
These Roadrunners are coached by a guy named Pat Hallmark, which is a true disciple of Wayne Graham. He played at Rice under Graham. He was assistant coach under Rice under Graham. The guy is a fantastic coach. We come from the same kind of baseball school, not just Rice, but a Wayne Graham baseball school. And I know how his team plays, and they always play well. In Texas, man, you got to give Schlossnagle a lot of credit this year for holding that team together with the injuries. But the thing is, it's a long season. The Friday night guy they lost is a real problem, all right? He was a fantastic guy. Now they put Ruger Riojas in there, who actually came from UTSA. I imagine they're going to pitch him Friday against Houston Christian, so he doesn't get have to face the guys he just left the year prior. But I just don't think Texas has the energy left anymore. I don't think they have the pitching staff left anymore. And I think UTSA is actually a full baseball team. They have a good staff, and their engine as far as hitting, offense in general, and their defense is literally top notch. And so to me, I mean, it's a tough draw for Texas getting UTSA right there. I mean, you look at some of these other regionals, man, there's a lot easier polls than UTSA, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, when I look at this, the thing about baseball, it's about peaking at the right time. And Texas was 19-2 in the SEC about a month ago. And then they got swept at Arkansas. Florida got them 2 out of 3. Kind of limped a little bit more to the finish line. Still got the number 2 national seed, and rightfully so. But I'm worried with the Spencer injury and all that maybe we've already seen their best at the wrong time, possibly. Having said that, I still got them coming out this regional. But I'm going to be watching the UTSA thing close. So you're going UTSA win?
Well, not just that. I think with some of these to win regionals, like if you're laying minus 300, man, I think you're in for a lot of trouble if you're going to do that the whole weekend.
I'll say this. I'm not placing a bet on Texas minus 225. Okay. I'm just I'm filling out some brackets, and I'm saying Texas wins it, but actual bets I'm placing, I'll say it. Are you going to take – you would take the UTSA plus 280?
Yeah, I'm going to have to take UTSA plus 280. And I'll say this. If Texas gets out of this regional, they earned it, all right? I mean, they got an easy draw Friday night, in my opinion, versus Houston Christian, which it's a great story also. You know, Burton was the coach there. They let him go. A new guy comes in, and they win the conference the first year. So you have to be happy for those guys. But I don't think they have it in them to win a single game this regional.
Todd Walker's son, the LSU legend's son's on the team, too, which I think is pretty cool.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Speaking of LSU, Baton Rouge Regional. LSU might be the biggest favorite interregional, minus 500. Dallas Baptist 4-1, and they're always good, and they've got a lot of tournament experience. They make it every year. Rhode Island out the A10, 35-1. Little Rock 100-1. I mean, this is going to be an LSU or DBU thing. When you look at it, minus 500 is too bad a price to actually bet on LSU. But that Cade Anderson-Anthony Ianson combo is the best 1-2 in college baseball. And then also that postseason environment in the box. I mean, especially for all these G5 schools that aren't SEC schools that are used to playing it. I think it's too much, and LSU comes out of it. But if you took a long look at DBU 4-1, I've heard stupider ideas. Rhode Island, I don't care what they are, no shot in the Baton Rouge heat and humidity. I think it's a bad fit. Little Rock kind of snuck in, but they did beat Ole Miss midweek at 100-1. I think it's an LSU DBU final. I think LSU wins their first 2 games because of that Anderson-Ianson combo, and ultimately it's too much for Dallas Baptist to come out of the loser bracket.
My notes on this regional, Mintz, says disgraceful. How the NCAA is going to give LSU an absolute cakewalk like this after they give number 2 seed Texas UTSA. UTSA is much better than Dallas Baptist. Rhode Island is a 4 seed, in my opinion. So LSU has got to have 2 4 seeds and a bad 2 seed. So, yeah, I think they're coming out of here. And I might even lay them minus 500 on them. I just can't see. I saw Dallas Baptist play so many bad baseball games during the year. You know, New Mexico State just beats them like 19-13. It's like that doesn't happen to LSU, you know? And so I just can't imagine the scenario. And like, I'm not mad at it's not LSU's fault that committed.
No, you just play who you get.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with them. You know, I love LSU. I love the fan base. But if they don't come out of this regional, it will be the biggest shock of this weekend, and I just can't see it happening.
Well, they're the biggest favorite, I believe, in any regional at 1-5. I mean, you can't take that. There's no value. They did play Dallas Baptist in a midweek game early in the season at the Rangers ballpark. LSU won 8-2. But the one thing, Dallas Baptist is, they make the postseason every year. They should have made Omaha a few years ago, and they choked Virginia in the Super Regional. So they're not going to be, even with them being Baton Rouge, I don't know if they're going to be like afraid at the moment. I just think ultimately the problem is in that game too. I don't think they could beat. I don't know if LSU's throwing Anderson or Ianson in game 1, but it literally doesn't matter. It's just both those guys are such studs. All right,
I mean, LSU is such a big engine that even if Dallas Baptist plays as well as they can, they're still not getting through them. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So LSU, by the way, is the number 6 national seed. And then they're matched up at the Clemson Regional. All right, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I kind of have some thoughts on this regional. UNC, a lot of people thought they were going to be a top 4 national seed. They end up getting number 5. They're minus 330 in this regional. UNC minus 330, Oklahoma 4-1, Nebraska 7-1, Holy Cross 75-1. I've got a thought on underdog in this one, and it's
Me
Oklahoma.
too.
It's Oklahoma at 4-1 because of these Witherspoon brothers. And I watched a lot of Oklahoma this year. They're not the best hitting team. They struggled a lot in midweek games when they didn't have their studs throwing. But man, when they have these Witherspoon brothers pitching, and they'll pitch game 1 and 2, they won a lot of Friday night and Saturday games. And they were 14-16 in the SEC, but there's no shame in that. They went 23-7 in Big 12 last year. Skip Johnson got them to the national championship where they fell to Ole Miss in 2022. I think there's a chance they can win their first 2 games behind the Witherspoon brothers, and they have a legit shot in this regional. And I'm taking them 4-1 as my first regional underdog pick.
I'm absolutely with you. We haven't discussed this beforehand, but that was my first, underdog pick too. Oklahoma, what they've got going for them also this year is that they went through that SEC. They saw what every one of these weekend series looks like. So, they're kind of built for it now. So you combine those starting pitchers, and I think they're coached very well too. I don't consider them just a hitting team. I consider them to have a pretty good offensive team as far as stealing bases and exploiting weaknesses on the other side. I think Oklahoma plus 400 is an absolute gift. I would put them at almost even money to win the regional. I don't think Holy Cross can do anything. I don't think if Nebraska would have played outside of Omaha last weekend, they'd even be in the tournament.
They would Nebraska has made the tourney a bunch, but this team wasn't near as good this year. They just won that conference tourney. They were like an 8 or a 9 seed in it too.
Yeah, and they only won it because it was basically a home game for them. And so Big Red showed out, and you got to love Big Red, but
great,
they're not going to be there. And so you're getting North Carolina or Oklahoma to win. And if you think that Oklahoma's 4 times worse than North Carolina here, you've gone crazy.
Yeah, I think ultimately, and I know it's stupid because I'm beating a dead horse, but it's that game 2 in the winner's bracket that's so important, and I think Oklahoma is in a spot where they can win it. And then Carolina is certainly talented enough to fight out of the loser's bracket, but I think that's going to be the whole key here. Oklahoma 4-1, my first regional underdog pick, and then Wade and I on it together. All right, Clemson regional. Clemson, number 11 national seed, another one of the top ACC teams. Interesting line here. Clemson only minus 110 to win their own regional. And when you look at the competition, Kentucky got maybe the last bid in the field. They were 13-17 in the SEC. They're plus 320. West Virginia out the Big 12 at plus 350. They were like 31-3 or 31-4 at one point. Kind of limped a little bit to the end. USC, South Carolina Upstate, 10-1 in this regional. Look, I'm surprised Clemson didn't like minus 150 or something like that. Eric Bakich is a great coach. Cam Canarella, first team All-American out in center field. Look, Kentucky made it to Omaha last year as the number 2 national seed. They lost everyone. I give Nick Mingione credit for getting them back to the tourney, but I'm going Clemson here. Do you think any of these teams can challenge Clemson?
I definitely am not going to be on Clemson. I'm going to be on Kentucky here, actually.
Okay.
You look at what Kentucky does. They go into Knoxville, win 2 out of 3. And you look at Kentucky's starting pitching, number 1. Their first and second guys are both very good. They hit
the older guys out of the transfer portal a lot.
And so to me, I would have been upset if Kentucky didn't get in. I had Kentucky as a top 25 team in the country by a lot. To me, they're a real sleeper to go to Omaha, and so I like Kentucky a lot there. I also like West Virginia too. That's a team that was really, really good all year, and so to me, this is the toughest regional by far. This is a real problem for anybody in this. And what I don't understand is Upstate being 10-1, and the other 3 teams all being way better than them. I just can't imagine why. If you're betting Upstate at 10-1, you've gone crazy in my opinion. Literally nuts.
Yeah, I agree. And all right, well, I'll take a look at the Kentucky. I think is worth a look. I don't hate that logic. I like Oklahoma 4-1 more than Kentucky plus 320. But no, I've seen worse. The winner of this is heading to Baton Rouge, which is pretty tough. But we'll see. Clemson's got a good ace starter too that I think they'll save for game 2. I would think. I wouldn't think you're throwing your top guy against South Carolina.
And my point of view on the ACC right here. The ACC was a year this year.
And here it is. The Wade sign. ACC is awful.
It's awful. like they have anybody. They'll go somewhere and get swept, and then sweep somebody the next weekend. It's like you can't count on any of these ACC teams. And I don't even know how Miami got in the tournament. To be honest, like I can't imagine why the committee let them in. I thought they were terrible. They played well for literally 3 weeks during the entire year, and they let the Miami name, the ACC reputation, just scoop them into the tournament where they have no business being.
All right, so are you going to Kentucky plus 320? Is that one of your underdog regional? So UTSA.
I would say I'm certainly not taking Clemson. I'm probably to pass or take Kentucky. But the problem is West Virginia. Like I don't want to bet on Kentucky when I think West Virginia is just as good as they are. And so this is a situation where I think you either take Kentucky and West Virginia or you sit it out.
Okay. All right, now let's go to Conway, South Carolina. Fascinating regional here. Coastal Carolina hosting, but Florida the favorite. Florida started 1-11 in the SEC and then ended up 15-15. Goes 14-4 down the stretch. Really turned it on. They did lose their 3-hole hitter. Shelton broke his wrist, out for the year late. That's a tough injury. Florida minus 115. Coastal Carolina at home plus 115. East Carolina, who is a traditional baseball power, actually kind of stunk this year, but they got hot in the American Athletic Conference tournament and won it. They're 15-1 and get in. Fairfield 50-1. This is a 2-horse race, Florida and Coastal Carolina. I got Florida coming out of it just with their postseason medal. Don't necessarily want to bet on minus 115 on the road, though. I don't think it's a very good price.
I mean, I completely agree with you. I love Florida's coach Sullivan so much. I think he's a very good coach, and they show up and they always compete in the playoffs each year. And like, what's Coastal going to do? Like they're hosting. There's too much pressure on them. The Florida is a terrible matchup because they were giving up on it in the early part of the year. They come back, so Florida's free rolling kind of, and they're absolutely on fire. And they're probably a better team anyway. So I have Florida coming out of here for sure.
I've got Florida making an Omaha run. I believe it. Last year, the last team in the tournament as a 3 seed made it. I come back to the same point. Baseball is about confidence and momentum at the right time, and this has been a completely different team down the stretch. And I think they're peaking. And Coastal have that's a weird home field advantage. Myrtle Beach or Conway, a little different a place. But I think Florida. I thought Florida was going to go to the Tallahassee regional, to be honest. So. But we both got Florida coming out of this. All right, Corvallis. Let's go to Corvallis, Oregon. Oregon State, number 8 national seed, team independent without a conference. TCU out of the Big 12. Oregon State minus 125. TCU plus 165. USC got one of the last bids in the tourney out of the Big 10. They're 7-1. St. Mary's 22-1 out of the weak West Coast Conference. Look, this is a 2-horse race, Oregon State and TCU. And I think I kind of think TCU's got a real shot here. I think it's kind of damning that Oregon State's only minus 125. And I know they have so much baseball tradition and they've won multiple titles, but I don't know that I feel like they're a little inflated by their schedule. And I'm kind of taking a look at TCU plus 165 here. What do you think?
I mean, first off, we saw Oregon State get swept at home by Irvine this year, who's a good team. But so's TCU, and not only that, TCU has been very hot. They made the final of the Big 12 tournament, and they were kind of probably should have been hosting. And I looked at what Sarloos, their coach, has been saying. When they weren't hosting, he's like, okay, and you can tell they're very mad, right? And so they're going to take a team that's maybe already even better than Oregon State, and then interject a bunch of pissed offness into them. I think at plus 170, it's a really good spot, yeah.
Yeah, so TCU, one of my underdog picks as well. TCU plus 165 to win theirs, and Oklahoma 4-1, my first two that I'm going to give out. I'm going to tweet all this out. Follow Wade on Twitter at Wade Townsend Man as well. All right, Eugene, Oregon. Oregon, the number 12 seed, out the Big 10, hosting. Minus 175. Arizona, 3-1 out the Big 12. A lot of history with Oregon, though, former Pac-12 school. Cal Poly, who's actually really good out the Big West at a pretty short number here, only plus 450, which shows you they got a shot. And then Utah Valley is 45-1. This one feels a little more like Oregon the last few years has stepped up their baseball. They can usually hit but aren't very good pitching. Arizona's got a lot of experience in the tourney. They're a team that's used to playing every year, playing super regionals. They make Omaha. I know the Big 12 wasn't as good this year as you expect, but TCU and Arizona both have shots to make a run. And then I know Cal Poly's like RPI's like 30. I mean, they're no joke too. What do you think about this regional?
This regional screams a lot of fun. All right, this one's gonna pop up on that ESPN show over and over again. Like every game is gonna be teams up 5 runs, teams down 5 runs. It's gonna be back and forth, and it's kind of be a war of attrition, I think. And if you're gonna do that, you might as well lay the money on Cal Poly because they put it to Irvine last week when they needed to do it, and they're pretty hot. So I certainly don't count them out.
Yeah, Cal Poly 200-1 on DraftKings. By the way, if you think, I mean, I don't know if they can win the title, but they could. There's a path to Omaha because they're matched up with that North Carolina regional that's we think's a little wide open too. And these West Coast, we've seen it with Cal Irvine. Going back to the Cal State Florida tradition, man. These teams can be, they play defense, they pitch, tough outs in the tourney. I don't buy Oregon, by the way. So.
I mean, plus you look at Fresno even 10 years ago, coming out the 4th seed.
They won it all, 17 years ago. Shows you how old we are.
There's definitely a path for Poly to get to Omaha. And if you get to Omaha, a lot of things can happen. Like 200-1 seems like pretty good money to me, to be honest.
All right, going to Fayetteville, Arkansas. I stand corrected. I said LSU was the biggest favorite to win their regional, and I lied because Arkansas is minus 550. Kansas out the Big 12 plus 550. Kansas has a lot of seniors. I know they're not like a big tradition, but they actually are pretty good this year. Creighton 12-1 out the Big East. North Dakota State 100-1. Basically, can Kansas fight Arkansas or no chance?
I mean, it's not only Kansas. Like, who's the other one?
Creighton.
Creighton's a good team. Creighton won like 40 games, and Creighton may not win the regional, but they may beat Arkansas in a spot, and you can't lay it on Arkansas. But, yeah, Kansas has pitching depth also. I would definitely take the money on Kansas, although I don't think they're actually going to win. But, when you're getting plus 500 in a spot where they may be in a one-game shot at it for plus 500, I think you have to take it.
Well, keep in mind last year, Kansas State won this regional. Arkansas blew that game, too, with Hagen Smith, who was the best pitcher in college baseball, and he melted down in the 5th inning. And Kansas State, I believe, ended up I think they beat Missouri State in the title game. I think Arkansas didn't even make the regional final. So it has happened before. Arkansas has been so good under Dave Van Horn for so long, but they've had some problems in the NCAA tournament every now and then. So, all right, well, I might take a look. Do you like Kansas plus 550 or Creighton 12-1 more? Here's a long shot.
I like Kansas plus. Creighton just doesn't have the pitching. The only way Creighton's gonna come back and win is if each game is 14-12 and they just keep scoring. But that's just gonna be a tough task. I think Kansas is a real team. All right, Kansas is a tough team to beat on any weekend, and so I think I got to take it at plus 500. Yeah.
All right, moving on to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. This is a fun regional. Southern Miss, the number 16 overall seed, ran through the Sun Belt. But Alabama, a very strong number 2, another team that probably had beef on the hosting. You mentioned Miami got the last bid. They lost 6 out of the last 7. They were 31-24. They shouldn't be here. And Columbia out the Ivy League 25-1. This is a 2-horse race. Southern Miss plus 110, Alabama plus 145. Who you got?
I mean, I'm just thrilled that I can get either of them at plus money. That sounds pretty good to me. You could even probably make money just betting both of them because Miami can't win and Columbia can't win. Alabama's a deep team. Southern Miss is a very deep team. It's just going to be to me, this is going to be how good is the SEC? We're going to find out, essentially in this regional, in my opinion. If Alabama, a 2 seed, can go into Southern Miss, who is hosting, and take this regional, specifically if they can sweep it, we're going to find out the SEC is actually better than we even thought they were.
Well, Southern Miss had a great year. I mean, there's no denying it. I think they lost 5 games in the Sun Belt. They ran through that league, but I'm kind of inclined. Look, I know I'm a homer, but I just give the SEC the benefit of the doubt here. Bama was good all year, and they can really hit. They don't have elite pitching, but that Justin LeBron, one of the best shortstops in the country, I think Alabama gets this thing done.
I do too.
Plus 145, I'm not sure I can take, though. That's another one of those. I'm looking for underdog value, and if it was plus 170 or higher, I think I'd take it. 145 is probably not quite.
The way I look at it, Mintz, is when we're betting those plus 400s, we think that the team that is plus 400 may be the second best team. Alabama's probably the best team here, and so if you're going to get a plus 145, which essentially is the best team, I think you got to look at it.
All right, I might. Yeah, it's kind of similar to the TCU one. honestly. All right, Knoxville, Tennessee. Tennessee minus 250. Wake Forest, the 2 seed out the ACC, 3-1. Cincinnati out the Big 12 plus 750. Miami of Ohio out the MAC at 40-1. Look, I know you're a huge believer in this Tennessee squad, and rightfully so. Liam Dole's the best pitcher in the country. They can mash. You said Tennessee's gutless frauds. I thought you liked Tennessee. Oh, wow.
I did early in the year. I watched them play the rest of the year. They lost 6 out of the 7 last series they had in the SEC. They've got a team that's got amazing stats, loses every game. Can't trust them. Gutless frauds.
Do you think Wake Forest? Are you taking a look at Wake at 3-1 here? Wake kind of. I mean, they've been a lot better the last couple of years than they are this year.
Same as every ACC team, they may sweep you or just get swept and run ruled every game. You just never know what you're going to get out of them. They may look like the best team in the country for one weekend and then look like one of the worst teams in the country the next weekend. We'll just hope that Tennessee will get fraud checked again, and Wake Forest is going to get through them.
Well, I'll tell you one big interesting rumor. So Brian O'Connor from Virginia about to take the Mississippi State job. Big hire from Mississippi State. Supposedly the Wake Forest pitching coach is going with him. And that being floated out and people knowing that before the tournament, does that impact anything?
To me, probably not. I mean, there's almost like if the team knows the guy's going to leave after the tournament, it's almost like, hey, this one last hurrah together. It may actually bring the team together.
Okay, well, I got Tennessee coming out of this because I just don't think Wake's what they've been. That's basically.
I agree. Tennessee's great. We'll see.
I feel like as a college baseball fan, I want to see this Tennessee-Arkansas Super Regional too. Those fan bases deserve each other, and I just think that will be, if that's the Super Regional, that's going to be the biggest Super Regional matchup, and I kind of want to see it. I'm surprised Tennessee only minus 250 here, though. I thought they'd be a bigger favorite, to be honest.
I thought after the first month of the season they were the best team I've ever seen, and I just don't know what happened to them. So they can't be trusted.
All right, going to L.A., UCLA, the number 15 seed out the Big Ten, hosting very pesky Cal Irvine squad plus 250. Arizona State bubble team from the Big 12 plus 350. Fresno State 15-1. My question to you: do the Cal Irvine Anteaters have some value here at plus 250?
Of course they do.
I think so too.
To me, Irvine was getting close to being a national seed when they kind of lost. They fell off. They had a really bad weekend versus, I think it was UCSB or somebody else, a bad team. But this team to me, it's the best team from the West. They're better than Oregon State, which they swept them, of course. And so this is the real California team. To me, UCLA is the second best California team. And so there's no really home field advantage in California that much. It's not like the SEC or the Big 12 or something like that, or even the ACC. And so a team like Irvine can go on there and just be the best team at plus 220 or whatever we're giving them at, and we got to take them.
Yeah, I agree. Cal Irvine plus 250 on my list. I think that's a good price. I don't think going into UCLA is intimidating at all. They're just playing another West Coast school like they're used to. I think this is a great situation to see Cal Irvine pull this off and head to Austin for a Super Regional.
Do you have an odds for Irvine to win the championship?
I can look it up. Let's see what we got.
Because to me, I mean, this would be one of those spots where, because Irvine's a full team, they can really pitch.
100 to 1. 100 to 1.
That's completely insane. They're literally a 2 seed. So even if you go by that, they're going to be one of the 32 best teams. So you're getting for sure one of the 32 best teams at 100 to 1. And in my opinion, probably one of the 15 best teams at 100 to 1. You'd be insane not to take them.
All right, Cal Irvine. There you go. And we're Anteaters fans here. All right, moving on. Nashville, Tennessee. Vandy, the overall number 1 seed. I believe you got them at 40 to 1 a while ago before they got hot late in the year, and then they won the SEC tourney. Nobody hotter down the stretch. Vandy minus 350. Louisville out the ACC 5 to 1. East Tennessee State plus 650. Wright State 75 to 1. I mean, Louisville does have some talent. I just don't think they got enough pitching to beat Vandy, so I got Vandy here.
I think Louisville isn't very good. Vandy, to me, is a full team. Corbin's obviously been fantastic. I mean, clearly he just copied what Rice was doing, and is just doing it better now, which is good for him. But I think that Vandy is the best team in the country. They're the most complete team in the country. And when you're a complete team, even if part of your game doesn't show, you can't score, you're not pitch, you can still come back and win the game. And so teams that aren't complete have to play a perfect game. Vandy doesn't. And so I like Vandy's depth. I like Vandy's bullpen. I like Vandy's ability to get to Omaha and probably, have as good a chance as anybody to win it. Yeah.
That Riley Nelson, one of the best hitters in college baseball, man, he's super stud. Their shortstop is basically near an All-American at a 986 fielding percentage of the SEC. I mean, Vandy, they are what they are. They're always really good. But they kind of fallen off for a year or two since they made the national championship in 2021. No longer the case. I got Vandy rolling and the Vandy, Alabama super. All right, Oxford, Mississippi regional, where I will be Saturday and Sunday. This is an interesting one. A lot of high-powered offenses. Ole Miss plus 105. Georgia Tech, ACC regular season champion, plus 180. Western Kentucky out CUSA 4-1. Murray State 15-1. Ole Miss announcing Riley Maddox, their number 2 starter, is going to pitch against Murray State. So they're saving Hunter Elliott for a potential matchup against Georgia Tech on Saturday. Love that move. Georgia Tech, one of the best lineups in the country, led by Drew Burress. What do you think about this one?
I think you're going to find out that Western Kentucky is way better than you thought they were. That's what I think everybody's going to find out. I think Western Kentucky is going to beat Georgia Tech, and I think they're going to claw their way through Ole Miss also. I saw Western Kentucky play Vandy a couple times, and again, you're just surprised at a team that's like Western Kentucky is a complete team. They can play. And so, I saw the odds on them creeping up to over plus 500. And if you get them over plus 500, I personally would probably take it, yeah.
Well, I hope you're wrong. But Ole Miss is coming in very, very hot off that SEC tourney run where they beat Florida, LSU, and Arkansas. I do think it is very interesting, though. The fact they're plus money in this regional shows you very far from a sure thing. Georgia Tech, interesting storyline. Their head coach retiring, Danny Hall, after 25 years. We've seen a lot of teams in the tourney make these runs where the coach is retired. I feel like that's kind of been a thing the last few years. So I don't know. This is Murray State and Ole Miss played this year. Ole Miss was down 7-3 late in the game, came back and won in extra innings in a midweek game. So, look, I'm taking Ole Miss, but this is not a sure thing regional. It's a pretty tough regional. Georgia Tech Georgia Tech also is extremely pissed off they didn't get to host, but they didn't play Florida State, I think it was Florida State. They didn't play 2 of the best 3, the Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina crew. They didn't play 2 of them, and then they lost their 3 series to the other best 3 ACC teams, and then they just beat the crap out of the Cream Puff 4. So schedule a little light.
As we saw, even when Ole Miss won 2 years ago, it seems to me like a team that gets hot like Ole Miss in the SEC tournament may cool off, but a team because when they did win, they were the last team in, if I remember.
Yeah, no, they were one, and they lost to Vandy in the SEC tourney. They were 1 and done.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of thinking, the macro trend is if you come in hot to the tournament, there's a little bit of cooling down going off, but if you come in maybe all of a sudden you can kind of turn it on. So I kind of personally am trying to stay away from teams that are just scorching hot unless they have a full team that makes sense, like Vandy behind it. Ole Miss, obviously very good baseball team, but I wouldn't count on them getting out of this regional. I wouldn't even count on them guaranteed winning the first game. Murray State's a good team. And if you're just going to once you've announced that your number 2's pitching, you've just announced to the world, we don't think much of this team, Well, we'll see how that goes. The number 2, I forgot his name, but he's either on or he's off. And if he's off,
Riley Maddox. He's pitched well down the stretch, though.
Yeah, but if they go down 6-7-0 again, they may not be able to come back because Murray State's not pitching their midweek pitchers. So y'all have probably never Mississippi, not y'all, have never seen Murray State's real pitching staff. And so, you're gonna have, if they do go down and Murray State does have a good 1 or 2, you may not get past the first game.
No, look, it's one of those things where it'll get second guessed if Ole Miss loses that first game on sitting Elliott out. But I still like the move. I do. I think it's, you want your ace to pitch that game 2 to win those first 2 games. And so I don't have a problem with it. And even if Ole Miss loses the first game, I still think it's the right decision. All right, finally, Tallahassee, Florida. Florida State, minus 110. This is a very interesting regional. Mississippi State, plus 250. Northeastern, plus 275. Bethune-Cookman, no chance, 75-1. But they did hit an electric walk-off to win the SWAC title. They had a bomb to center. That was an incredible moment last week. There's a lot to say on this regional. Mississippi State fired Chris Lemonis, who won the national championship in 2021, since they promoted Parker. different team. Swept Kentucky, won 2 out of 3 against Ole Miss, really played well down the stretch. They're coming in here with totally nothing to lose. And then Northeastern, one of the best records of college baseball, won like 27 in a row. That's maybe the most fascinating 2-3 match, like Friday game in the whole tournament to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the fact that Northeastern they haven't just won 27 in a row. Their pitching staff has like a 2.6 ERA, and nobody in the country is even close to that, especially that part of the country. And I really don't know how they did it. I kind of want to do some more research on whatever their coach is doing over there, because to just stand out so much from everybody around you, I'm so glad this NCAA tournament exists. So we're actually going to get to find out, is this a real team or not? You know, and I really hope they are. I'm certainly rooting for them to be. I think all of America wants, a Northeast Boston kind of team to make it to Omaha. That'd be fun for everybody. And I think there may be value. I just don't like the number. Plus 280 is just not going to cut it. If I want at least 4-1. So I'm going to have to sit back and watch this. But I'm definitely going to be rooting for Northeastern.
I like Mississippi State plus 250 to win this regional. I think when you look at the Northeastern thing, I have concerns about them playing in Tallahassee, Florida, and that heat and humidity. I think that's a rough environment for them coming from the Northeast. State's got a really good ace, too, that they're going to throw in that first game. The only thing about my Mississippi State pick here is Florida State's going to save Jamie Arnold for Saturday. So if State's going to win this, there's a really good shot they're having to do it out of the losers bracket. But I don't know. I'm kind of feeling a vibe around the State team. You see these SEC number 3 seeds make runs. Florida last year, Ole Miss did it in 2022. I feel like Mississippi State could be that 3 seed that also they're matched up with the Corvallis Oregon Super. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they made Omaha. I really wouldn't.
So Mississippi State's the 3 seed? I thought they were the 2 seed.
No, Northeastern's the 2. Mississippi State's the 2.
Imagine, LSU gets Rhode Island as their 3 seed, and Florida State gets Mississippi State. Oh, it's so funny. But, anybody's got a problem with whatever, get over it. You're going to have to beat everybody no matter what, so I don't want to hear it, right? The whole NCAA tournament, it's such an interesting thing because we go from a 4-team regional to a 2-team super regional to an 8-team final, or to actually 2 4-team finals and then another final. It really tests your whole team. It was a great job. Whoever invented it did a fantastic job. It's so much more interesting than just the college basketball tournament. It's just one and done. You get to actually find out what a team is made of, and it's just the best time of the year, man.
Yeah, and I'm going through it, so I got odds to make Omaha bets for some of our long shots. Cal Irvine 7-1. Seen worse. Oklahoma 7-1. Seen worse than that. I would like them in a super against whoever wins that Oregon regional.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at some other ones that might have some. I don't know why the Athens Georgia regional wasn't up. We didn't talk about it, but the odds on that are Georgia is the favorite. I just know it was.
I've got it.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know why I didn't up on DraftKings right now.
All right, Georgia, we got minus 260. It may be different now. Georgia, we have Duke, number 2 seed, plus 330. Oklahoma State, plus 650. And Binghamton, plus 7,000. And so you're going to get Duke, to me, is one of my favorite ACC teams. Duke competes every weekend. They're a very good team. And to me, Georgia sucks, all right? And so we're going to... Oklahoma State was terrible to start the year, and they came on late and they got a lot better. But it makes me not really trust them. Duke has been a tough out the whole time. If I'm getting Duke at plus 300 or plus 350, that is a gift. I want nothing to do with Georgia minus 250. Georgia got exposed when they came to Texas early in the year, and we found out those bats that they had that were putting up 20 runs a game just get turned off as soon as good pitching comes against them. And so I don't trust them at all. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Georgia will beat Binghamton, but I certainly don't think Georgia gets out of this regional. I'm just thrilled to take Duke or Oklahoma State at plus 650.
Duke also has got a lot of left-handed pitchers, and Georgia's got a lot of left-handed hitters. But I think with Georgia, look, and I think Wes Johnson's done an awesome job his first 2 years. I mean, he's been a national seed in this thing both years. But what I saw out of them this year, really good lineup, not elite pitching, and they struggled when they had to play elite pitching on Fridays. And so I think you've got one of those teams that may be better in the regular season than the NCAA tournament, just how they're designed.
That's how I see it, too. And so, I mean, I think Duke's a whole team. Oklahoma State's a fun spot, plus 650, It's whoever wins that Duke-Oklahoma State game, I think if you're on the winner of that, then you've got a good spot to make money on this regional. But I certainly am not taking Georgia by any chance because the pitching staff, obviously.
I think I'm going to add Duke as another. Some underdog regional picks were Oklahoma 4-1, Duke plus 330, TCU plus 165, Alabama plus 145, and Irvine plus 250. I think those are the 5 I'm giving out.
Yeah, those all seem to me to be very reasonable plus money spots. And again, if you're going to be laying the money, if you're going to be laying chalk this weekend, it's going to be a nervous weekend. It's going to be a little nervy.
Yeah, I agree. And as always, you can find all this at DraftKings. I mean, we'll have picks out tomorrow for the individual games, man. Oh, I just love the tournament. I'm just so excited about it. I'm so excited about it.
In case you need a preview for the 2026 College World Series, I have it right here. National champions, Rice Owls, National Coach of the Year, David Pierce. You heard it first here, so be ready.
There you go. Do you have any picks? So as far as the tournament goes, do you have we can do like an Omaha 8 and I guess a pick. I've got going through it, Vandy. I mean, I know it's obvious. I got I'll just run through my supers. I got Vandy over Alabama. I got Texas over Cal Irvine. I've got that Arkansas-Tennessee one's tough. I think I'm going to go Tennessee over Arkansas because of Liam Doyle, and Arkansas's history is bad. Then I've got. I don't know why. We didn't talk about the Auburn regional either. My bad. I don't know why it wasn't up on DraftKings. Auburn minus 200, NC State plus 250, Stetson plus 750. Forgot who the 4 seed is. I think NC State. Does NC State plus 250 have some juice? We've seen them get hot in postseason before, and they played well down the stretch.
I'm seeing the odds are creeping up on NC State to plus 350 from what I'm seeing. People are laying the money on Auburn. And Auburn's a good team. They're a good SEC team. But NC State's a good team also. And they know how to play in the postseason. If you're going to get plus 300 or plus 350 NC State, you got to take. You certainly shouldn't be laying the money minus 200 on Auburn. Even though I do think they're a good team, but it's not a great team,
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think NC State's another one of those underdogs I'm going to look at, just looking for that value. But I've got Florida over Auburn in that super. Was basically my point. And then the one that I think is just crazy is this alleged North Carolina-Oregon matchup. And I mean, screw it. I'm taking Oklahoma, dude. Oklahoma to the College World Series.
I mean, it seems it makes a lot of sense. If they get through the regional, their 1-2 guys or the Witherspoon boys, they're just going to be too tough to get through. You can have 2 or 3 pitchers and still win the College World Series. I've seen me do it. So I think Oklahoma may be the sleeper pick of the whole tournament, not just to get to Omaha, but even win Omaha.
Yeah, I like it. So I got Oklahoma over. I never even gave a pick. I don't know who's going to win that Oregon regional. You can make an argument for Oregon, Arizona, or Cal Poly. I think that one's wide open. And then the 6-11, I got LSU over Clemson in that one, and then the Baton Rouge Super Regional. I got Ole Miss over Duke in the other in Oxford in that one, and then the 8-9 one. Screw it, I got Mississippi. Do I want Mississippi State? Mississippi State over TCU. Crazy pick.
That would be a very good series. If we get to TCU Mississippi State, that's a heck of a series, and I guess it would be at TCU.
It'd be at TCU because they're a 2 seed.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting about this tournament is we have so many ideas of what's going to happen next weekend, and none of these things that we may have regionals being places we didn't know they were going to be. It's just such a flux of what's happening. There's so many games going on at once, and I almost kind of like it when the weather gets involved, and then one team oh no, then it may go on into Monday or even Tuesday, and it just becomes pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, well, so that's my Omaha 8. I'm going LSU because I think Anderson and Ianson 1-2 combo is just too tough, and I think they're going to get to Omaha and win those first couple games, and that's why I'm going to ride that. That's going to be my pick.
I mean, as far as the bracket, it's hard to argue with. As far as laying whatever plus 400 LSU is.
No, I'm not taking that. No, hell no. As far as value, do you have any long shots or anything?
I mean, what I've noticed is the odds are just crazy on some
you can't. The thing with baseball, the favorites are favored way too much, but then there's value on crazy long shots. Oklahoma's 90-1, Cal Irvine's 100-1. Those are a couple I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think those are really good spots. And if you can get some money on plus 90-1, that'd be a fun, next month of baseball if it pans out.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then plus the thing is if you get somebody deep into Omaha, you got a 90-1. You can hedge and make money too. And so I think there's a lot of value there. Wade, this was fun as hell. I know I hadn't. I think tomorrow morning I'm going to come out with my individual picks for tomorrow, but I think this was probably the best way to go about it, going through the regionals.
Yeah, had a great time, man. Every year, I love talking.
I know we get it going every year, man. We got to just wait and always. This is going back. Maybe we need to get the spaces on Twitter going again. We kind of caught fire with that a few years ago.
Those were fun, man. I really enjoyed
love getting the fans on there all pissed off or happy.
Oh, so funny to me. And we were doing this before Barstool even got to Barstool.
Oh yeah. Wade, you've been coming on you were on my Bossier City Shreveport show doing this, man. We go.
I mean,
we go back to World Series of Poker Tunica 2008. Me, you, and Mac Ledbetter.
Yeah. 17 years of fun.
Hell yeah, man. Well, we'll get more of this going during the tourney. We'll definitely get you back next week, and then I'll be posting my picks tomorrow. As always, don't forget to download and fire on the DraftKings Sportsbook for the NCAA tourneys. Drink some Stella Blue coffee, and when the coffee gives you the runs, use some Dude Wipes. Let it rip. You can find them at Walmart, Amazon, Target, all over the World Wide Web. One use of a Dude Wipe will change your life. You'll wonder where the hell you've used dry, scratchy, crappy toilet paper. It's so unnecessary. It's such a bad product. Dude Wipes. Changing the world. All right, we're going to get out of here. Thanks to Tyler Moody. As always, a lot more college baseball tourney content coming. We'll have all kinds of picks posted. Let's make some damn money. It's fun.
All right.
No, that